Hola, hola. This is Tico Tren, SYSBM, and this is going to be a bit of a different live stream from what y'all are used to because I've been thinking about this for no, I haven't really been thinking about it, but I've been meaning to actually put this out because I'm always wanted to play devil's advocate when it comes to things like that, and also I've always wanted to dive deeper into my whole entire yo sure Obi-Wan. Also wanted to dive deeper into my videos where I talk about ass and tits. So I wanted to make this video to basically bookmark that, and a lot of people have been asking me to make this video, so I've decided to do it as a live stream just to get it out the way. I'll probably make it into like a live stream series eventually, but I've been meaning to make this video so I can actually dive into this shit because I know there's a lot of men out there who both get tricked into relationships or sucked into relationships and or end up picking the wrong person to be in a relationship with. On top of that, there are a lot of women who also do the same fucking thing. So this video is basically going to be for everyone for the most part on both sides of the aisle. So this is going to be for women and men at the end of the day. And this is going to be blanket statements for everyone. So nobody's going to be free of a blanket statement on this shit. Let it be men, let it be women. And this has been like a long time request that I've been regretting to do and I don't really want to do because like I said, I don't do relationship advice. But there's been a lot of men and some women, but mainly men, like 75% of the people who wanted me to do this were men and about 25% of this were women. Um and the sad part about that is what I mean by this video is like I don't like making videos on relationships. I can do relationship videos, but I don't like making videos on relationship. What's up, Duzangs? What's up, Yam Yam? But this is not going to be an ordinary video. This is going to be out of the ordinary for my channel. The problem with relationships and relationship dynamics in this day and age are just that it's a dynamic. It's all about do you fit that person? Can you make it work? Does that person complete you? And no, I'm not talking about the Disney shit. I'm talking about the actual shit, brass tacks that actually need to be applied in everyday life for the most part. I don't care about I don't care about the other extra shit. I don't care about your choices that you make. However, your choices that you make will play a part in this whole entire video. What I've noticed with women, especially women, they tend to pick bad and then they turn around on social media and complain about the bad. That is actually very true. Like women do that quite often. They pick the wrong person, then they complain about the wrong person, then they complain to the wrong people about the wrong people. You see what I'm saying? That's typically what women do. However, on the flip side of that coin, men do it too. So I'm not going to mince words when I say this shit, but men do it a lot too. Men pick women based on, like I said, ass and tits. And there's not too many men that can't say they don't. Because a shit ton of men do that on a regular basis, and it's just fucking facts. You may not like the truth, but it's the fucking facts. And a problem with people who do that, you're basically in the same boat as women who pick the bad boy, get their ass whooped, and end up thinking to myself, he's an asshole. All men are this, all men are that, all men are this. You're basically in the same boat as those people. It's just facts. What you can't do is take your situation, turn and flip it, and say all these people, all these people. Now, I will admit this: majority of the women in this day and age aren't worth the squeezing the juice out of. I'm just going to be honest, and I'm just going to be honest across the board on that. Majority of women aren't worth the squeeze. Just as today, in this day and age, with all the single mother boys growing up, majority of men aren't worth the squeeze either. Let's just keep it 100. Let's let everybody admit their fucking flaws right now and get it out there on the fucking table. Because there's a lot of men that's not worth the juice are worth the squeeze also, just as much as there's a lot of women not worth the squeeze also, especially if you're raised by a single mother. Now, there are some that come up and make it. Those ones are probably more worth it than the ones that were just raised with, like, soy boy bitch thing. It's just facts. You may not like it. Pookie and Ray Ray tend to come from those people. Um, some Chads and Tyrones come from them people too. At the end of the day, when it comes down to relationships, the problem with a lot of people, both men and women, is how they select people. If you select somebody based on looks or what they have, or ass and tits for men, if you're going to always find yourself in a precarious situation that's going to land you in an even more fucked up situation. It's kind of like how I always say, it was a series of choices that you made that got you in the position that you're in right now. That goes for men and or women. The the various choices that you made in your life landed you in the position or the situation you are right now. I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just keeping it 100, because sometimes you everybody likes the truth until it's about them. It's just fucking facts. If you don't like it, that's just too fucking bad. It is what it is. Men make bad decisions just as much as women make bad decisions. However, men make bad decisions based on visual cues. And the sad part about that is men make bad decisions based on the women that are in their fucking face versus women that the women that they actually, it's basically the difference between a want and a need for the most part. The women in your fucking face with their tits out and their ass jiggling her ass in front of you are a want. The woman that's probably sitting over there in the corner with the glasses reading a book is probably the woman that you actually need. That's the best way I can preference it, so I can keep this moving very quickly. I'm not saying date anybody. I'm totally against it, because apparently a lot of people can't make proper decisions on who they can fucking date or not. It's just fucking facts. I'm merely saying that if you're going to get yourself in a situation, get yourself in a situation with your needs, not your wants. Because a lady with ass and tits is a want. That's not a need. That's a want. You just want to hit that, or you want to motorboat that shit. That's all it is. You just want it in your fucking face so you can motorboat the hell out of it. Like, that's all you fucking want. It's not something that you actually fucking need. It's basically like what Duzang said in the comment section. You're basically just getting into that fucking ass and tits relationship to fill a void. That's all it the fuck is. And I know there's a lot of content creators that talk about the relationships that they're in and actually listen to this shit and actually assess this shit, and I think about this shit and I think to myself, you basically dated the same person. You basically did the same thing that a woman would do in a relationship when she complains about the men that she's been in a relationship with. You basically just did the same thing. And the sad part about that, when men do this shit, you're literally setting yourself up. You're literally starting to sound like the women who complain about the bad boys that they've been in a relationship with. You may not like it. It's fucking true. It's just fucking facts. That's what you're doing. You're literally complaining the same way women do. It'd be no different than if a woman says, I need a good man and all these men are trash. On the flip side, in the manosphere, you hear a wall, which is basically equivalent to all men are trash in the female camp for the most part. It's just true. The same battle cry, the same battle cries on both sides. It's just worded differently on both sides. That's pretty much all it is. Men are trash, men are dogs on one side, and you got all women are like that on the other side. It's just facts. The sad part about that, there's a lot of men in this world that shouldn't be in fucking relationships, and there's a lot of women in this world that shouldn't be in fucking relationships. And there's a lot of men in this world that shouldn't be in a relationship with the women that they're in a relationship with, and there's a lot of women in this world that shouldn't be in a relationship with the men that they're in a relationship with. The sad part about that is a lot of y'all can't find the people that you actually need in your life. It's kind of like friends. You don't just go out and just make friends with any fucking body. It's just facts. You vet your fucking friends. You should do the same thing. You should do the same thing you do with your friends. I mean, I'm not saying bang your friends. You should do the same tact. You should use the same damn tactics that you use when getting friends for getting a relationship going. Because at the end of the day, when all the chips are down, you need that person to be your friend. It's just facts. If all Basically, if all you seen was ass and tits, or all you seen was, you know, exclusivity sex on a regular basis, then you pretty much set yourself up for a failure when you walked into that shit. It'd be basically like if SEAL Team 6 went in unprepared and ended up losing like every single person on the team. You literally did the same fucking thing. I'm just using it as an analogy. Hopefully that never happens, and hopefully that never gets that bad with SEAL Team 6, because that would just be very devastating, especially to the families. And that would be a huge hit to like the American ego for the most part, the American pride, if something like that was to happen to a SEAL Team 6. So hopefully nothing like that happens, but I'm just using it as an analogy. A lot of men literally walk in unprepared, or they walk in because it's a pretty face with nice ass and nice tits, or a tight ass and nice tits, or she's pretty, or her hair looks nice, or how her hair falls on her neck. Okay, yeah, that's all superficial shit. Like I said, you need to actually start picking women like you pick your friends. You need to start implementing the same tactics that you use, because I'm pretty sure a lot of your best friends, they're not your friends because they look good. I'm willing to bet any money all your best friends aren't your friends because they look good. I mean, you might have some people that you call your friends or your acquaintances that are your friends or acquaintances because they got connections, but they serve a purpose. They serve more of a purpose than picking a woman who just looks good and got ass and tits. It's just facts. You may not like it. It is what it is. However, at the same time, while you're doing this shit, you have to take in consideration too, you literally have to pick based on your needs being met, not your wants being met, your needs being met. That goes for everybody on both sides of the coin. It don't matter who you are. I don't give a damn how many subs you got. It's just fucking facts. I basically view that way. Because what you can't do is sit up here and tell me, a person that's been in the psychological field for a very, very long time, that you literally pick the person based on their mentality, when in fact all this shit actually happened to you. I mean, don't get me wrong, women can trick you, but eventually that facade actually wears off. Or if you put her in a certain situation where she has to actually respond, look at her body language, and look at her and listen to her response, and look at her face when she actually responds to any question that you give her. If she seems like she's not too comfortable with responding to you, or she seems that she's not too, or she gets an attitude about the shit that you just asked her, then that's not the person for you. It'd be no different. It'd be like, it's a low key version of like Bradzilla for the most part. So it'd be a low key version of if you were going to put a ring on it for the most part. So you got to pay attention to this shit in the beginning. And I know everybody would say, well, in hindsight, now that I think about it, this, and this. Well, yeah, these are things you should have caught in the beginning. These are the warning signs you should have caught in the beginning. But because tight ass or pretty face, or the way her hair fell on her face, the way her hair fell on her neck, or ass and tits, like everybody, like I always say with everybody, you miss those cues. It's kind of like the running joke. If you get enough alcohol in your system, everything looks like Halle Berry. Or if you get enough alcohol in your system, everything looks like a hot Hollywood starlet, or a hot model for the most part. The same thing goes, because I look at it like this. I always judge women based on things like, if they say something to me and it sounds too good to be true, I got to go investigate this shit. Hell, I investigate shit even if somebody tells me some shit. Like, hell, if my grandma tells me some shit, I'm investigating the shit. Hell, if my best friend tells me some shit, I'm investigating the shit. It's just facts. I'm just going to go investigate the shit because that's what I do. I'm going to take the time out of my busy day to go investigate this shit. And the sad part about that is it's funny how all these content creators can go investigate all these stats and all these facts, but they can't go and investigate some shit that they just heard or regurgitated or just regurgitated to the masses for the most part. Hell, young kids do this shit on a regular basis. Like they don't know shit and they listen to shit on the news, then they turn around and post it on social media when in fact the same thing that they're posting on social media with is a computer within their hand that they can go actually go and investigate this shit. A lot of content creators in the manosphere have this problem too. A lot of content creators and the female side and the trolls have this problem too. Instead of actually investigating the shit, they just spit shit out there. Men do the same damn thing. Instead of actually investigating the shit and redoing the shit. I mean, these stats sound good at the same time, but at the same time, you're no different than everybody else just spitting out this shit. Now, I know people have actually made videos about how they became the red pill or how they came to the red pill, but when I listen to those stories across the board, let it be the black manosphere, the white manosphere, the manosphere at large, the Latin manosphere, when I listen to all that shit and I put it all together and I compile all the data, you've all dated the same woman. Just like I tell women, if you stop passing around the same 10 men, because I always say 10, and that's always been my thing. If you stop passing around the same 10 men, you wouldn't have this fucking problem. It's just facts. The same thing goes for the men who actually talk about the women who they were in a bad relationship or they had like the divorce and shit like that. Y'all are literally dating the same fucking woman. Y'all are literally dating the same fucking woman. Y'all are literally all dating the same fucking archetype. Only thing that changes is the skin color, how big her tits are, what her ass look like, if it's tight or if it's jiggly, what her hair look like, how long her hair is, how short her hair is. That's all that fucking changes. Y'all are dating the same fucking woman. If she's black, if she's white, if she's Latino, if she's this, if she's that, if she's Asian, if she's this, if she's that, if she's that. You're all dating the same fucking women. It's just facts. When I listen to it and I digest it and I go back and I think about it for a while, I realize that literally that's what it is. And the thing about that is it's not a matter of all women are bad. It's not a matter of all men are bad. It's a matter of your choices are bad. The only common denominator in that whole entire thing is you. That goes for men or women. The only common denominator in that shit is both both of you. Because if you have a string of bad relationships, it's probably you, just as much as it might be the person that you chose. And like the thing about that, it's kind of like when I made that one video about what men think about when something tragically happens to their family or their children. That's literally what a man thinks about. Like you may not want to admit it, but like if something was to happen to your children on the watch of your significant other, if you're a man, you automatically blame yourself for you making the decision to make that woman the mother of your children. It's just facts. You might be upset, but at the end of the day, you blame yourself because you chose that person as the mother of your children. Psychologically, this is why a lot of men can actually go off and commit suicide and shit like this at a high rate because they blame themselves for the decision that they make. It's just facts. You may not like it, but it is what it is. This is why a lot of men commit suicide at a higher rate than women, because men can own up to responsibility, and sometimes men overcompensate and over own up to something that happened literally, and they get so consumed in it emotionally and mentally that it's like you literally think about suicide. And the sad part about that is this all stems from your decision making. This is why men commit suicide at a higher rate than women, because men are able to own up to shit, recognize shit, and realize shit. However, at the same time, a lot of men that grew up with single mothers, it's usually hindsight is 2020 for them. Or a lot of men that grew up in the Disney princess phase, you literally you literally are buying into a notion. And the sad part about that is like what Duzang said right here, don't put up with sass or attitude. Lay the lay the foundation in the beginning of a relationship. Don't be scared to lay your foundation saying, look, this, and no, it doesn't work like that, and put your foot down. Because there's a lot of men out here, and I know there are, that's done this in a relationship where they literally not said anything just so they can keep some pussy around. It's just facts. Or they not said anything because they don't want to mess up their plug at that point in time. It's kind of like a drug. It's kind of like a person that like they weed and shit like that or their drugs. You're not going to say anything to mess up your plug for the most part. That's literally what men are pretty much doing. The person you're dating is literally your plug, and you don't want to fuck it up, or you don't want to rock the boat. Sometimes you have to rock the boat. The more you rock the boat, the more respect you get out of a fucking relationship. The more you're willing to actually not appease somebody or not always co-sign on some bullshit, the more respect you're going to. They might be mad at your ass. I don't give a damn if you're mad at me. I'm just keeping it 100. You're basically setting yourself up for failure by not putting your foot down in the beginning. And a lot of men do this shit, and this is where a lot of men fuck up at the beginning of relationships. Like a good example of that was I think it was Terrence Pop said. Was it Terrence Pop? I believe it was Terrence Pop. He said, if a woman come at you with a hypothetical, like I think his excuse his thing was his talking about um what if this happens and I'm out with my girlfriends and I accidentally cheat. Right then and there, you have to lay the groundwork like, look, bitch, I'm leaving. If this happens, I'm leaving. If you think about this, I'm leaving. If I think you're thinking about the shit, I'm leaving. It's kind of like what your parents growing up used to beat you for thinking, like, used to get your ass whooped for no reason. Like, what was that for? Because I know you're going to do it later, or I know you're thinking about the shit. Typically, that's basically how you got to treat that relationship for the most part. Like, she's literally thinking about it already. And if you think about it, if I think you're thinking about it, I'm leaving you. It's that simple. So you got to lay the groundwork for this shit. Am I saying get into a relationship? No. I'm just merely going off of the mistakes that a lot of people made getting into these fucking relationships. This goes for men and or women. You make mistakes in the beginning of relationships, and then you want to regret it later. When you could have seen the shit, assessed the shit, and addressed it at that point in time. Now, I do know I'm not talking about the men who grew up in single mother households or grew up like just blinded to a whole lot of shit. I'll give you a pass for this moment in time. But if you got your ass got into a second, a third, and a fourth relationship and practice the same fucking thing, then you don't get a pass. But if you got into one relationship and you decided not to get into another one, I'll give you a pass. But if you got in multiple relationships after that shit and you fucked up and you kept on fucking up, it's kind of like that saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, everybody has to take ownership for their fault and shit on both sides of the coins, on both sides of the aisles. Everybody has to take responsibility. We all know a good majority of women aren't going to take responsibility for the shit that they did in a relationship because they roll on too much pride and the how the world basically operates is women can do no wrong. So women are going to run off that playbook no matter what. The sad part about that is in a relationship, you're pretty much the deciding factor in that relationship. You're pretty much the person. You're the motherfucker in that relationship. So you got to be beating that out of her head. Well, I'm not physically. I mean, like psychologically beating that out of her head. That okay, I don't give a fuck what Disney told you. I don't give a fuck what your dad told you. I don't give a fuck if you're your dad's princess, your granddad's princess. I don't give a fuck if you're your mom's princess. That princess life shit is over. You got to be a grown ass fucking adult now. All that bullshit is just all that bullshit. Leave that bullshit at the door if you're going to come date me. I don't give a fuck what your girlfriend's doing. I don't give a fuck what your mom got going on over there. I don't give a fuck if you're still your daddy's princess. We're together now. I'm not dating them. Fuck them. And that's exactly how you got to do it. That's exactly how you got to approach this shit. And you may not want to approach it as aggressively as I would, but that's literally how you got to approach this shit psychologically. Fuck all them people. I'm not dating those people. It's kind of like what your parents used to tell you when they beat your ass and you blame your friend. I'm not their parent. I'm your fucking parent. It is what it is. You gotta treat your significant others the same way your parents brought you up. Like, I'm not dating the motherfuckers, I'm dating you. Fuck them. I'm with you. And the sad part about that, the more you drill that into somebody's fucking head, the more they realize that, one, this person ain't nothing to fuck with, and obviously this motherfucker is higher value than me because this motherfucker's trying to put me in my place, and his attitude and how he's carrying himself is probably turning her on for the most part. It is what it is. And the thing about that is a lot of men miss the mark on this shit and don't realize that you got to lay this groundwork in the fucking beginning. You got to put down, you literally got to put down what you ain't finna allow and what you are going to allow in this fucking relationship at the fucking beginning. Because the minute you get past that beginning portion, she going to think she could do any fucking thing you want without laying any fucking groundwork. It's just facts. Because at the end of the day, you still have to lead in a relationship. No matter how much you cut it, no matter how much you've been raised by a gynocentric mother, no matter how much all this shit, you still got to lead in that relationship. And the sad part about that is we might talk shit on Pookie and Ray Ray, despite the fact that they were raised by single mothers. Women always follow them. I'm not saying you need to be as violent and as vile as Pookie and Ray Ray, but you need to actually present that shit could get real very quickly, very, very fast if you fuck with me wrong. It's not about Dom game. Fuck that Dom game shit. That's some bullshit. And it's not about, a mindset. Fuck a mindset. Mindsets are bullshit. It's all about being able to carry yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's all about how much respect you have for yourself and how much shit you're going to allow to fucking happen in your fucking life. If you have very little respect for yourself, you're going to allow fucking anything to happen in your life. It's just facts. You're going to let a woman just run rampant or run wild on your fucking life because they can. And you let them. You only can shit can only happen to you what you let happen to you, basically, is what I'm trying to say to you. If you let the shit happen, that means you dropped the ball and you didn't address the shit when it needed to be addressed. The sad part about that is once you get too far into a relationship, you can't go back to the beginning and start changing shit. I mean, you can put your foot down eventually, but you've already lost the respect. It don't matter if you put your foot down. It's basically the same thing for children when you raise your children. If you don't put down the groundworks or put down the rules and regulations at the beginning, your children are going to grow up and just do any fucking thing they want because they're not going to respect you. It's basically what I talk about when I talk about parents who treat their children like they're their friends or try to be their parents' friends. You're going to lose respect. You're going to lose the respect of that person no matter what. So you have to lay the groundwork in the beginning of the shit. You can't just be like, well, I'll let this slide. We're still new. No. If something bothers you, let that motherfucker know. It bothers you. Don't be doing no pussyfoot shit. If that shit bothers you, let them know that fucking shit bothers you. Put it out there on Front Street. And if they don't fucking like it, they're not for you. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much ass and tits she's jiggling in your fucking face. If she can't follow that simple thing or can't respect that, she's not for your ass. It's just fucking facts. So you got to as men make better decisions. You got to as men better yourselves. And these are for men that's going to get in a relationship, not the men that pretty much opted out. if you're going to get into these fucking relationships, you gotta put your fucking foot down. You can't just let motherfuckers walk all over you. Because I look at it like this: you won't let your fucking friends walk all over you, so you can't let some fucking woman walk all over you. It's just fucking facts. You may not like it, and there ain't nothing there. And fuck that all get along to get along with women. No, fuck that shit. Put your fucking foot down. I'm not saying put your foot in her ass. I'm just saying put your foot down. Because at the end of the day, like I said, they can only do to you what you let them do to you. And the sad part about that is a lot of the men who went through some severe shit, they literally let this shit happen over time. They let shit go over time. They let shit build up over time. So when a bubble popped or when a carpet was pulled from under them, they were at their lowest point. Because you kept on giving in, you kept on giving concessions, you kept on giving in, you kept on giving in, you kept on giving her an inch, 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 and to the point where now the rug is pulled from under you, and all you can think about is suicide. And what the fuck went wrong? And how the fuck you got here? It's sad, but it's so fucking true. A lot of men do this shit. Matter of fact, I'm willing to bet 90% of men do this fucking shit. They just kept on giving her ground to basically do the shit that she does because they want to appease pussy. It's just facts. And you can't say you didn't because a lot of men talk about this in a lot of their videos. You basically get along just to get along, or you basically get along just so you can keep your free pussy laying around that you're probably not going to get any fucking way. Because if you stop giving it up every day or every week, then it's probably not coming back. Because she knows she has the power in this fucking relationship. And I always looked at it like this: the less sex you get, the less power you have. It's just facts. So if you're not getting sex as much as you want it, it's because you don't got the power in that relationship no more. It's just facts. Because I can't think of a time in any relationship I've ever been in where I didn't get the sex that I didn't get the sex that I wanted, or didn't get enough sex, didn't get the amount of sex that I wanted in a week. I can't think of one relationship unless she was on her period where I didn't get the amount of sex that I couldn't get that I wanted or wanted in a relationship. And the sad part about that, usually periods only last like 3 days, and I think on maximum, I only really want sex like 3 times a week, if that, depending on my mood and shit like that. Like the most I ever wanted sex a week is 3 times a week. Like the rest of the days, I don't give a fuck. If you want sex, that's you, but I don't really need it. And the sad part about that is I've always dated women who either have a higher sex drive than me or a equal sex drive than me. So I get my 3 days plus however many days they want. So yeah, that's typically how it always worked in a relationship. I've always dated women with an equal, a higher sex drive than me. Not high enough where like they're hoeing it up or riding a cock carousel, but high enough where like, I walk in the door and she's trying to rip my clothes off with children standing there, type shit. Like, or just shit like that. Like I'm getting already aggressed when I walk in the door, or I'm getting aggressed when I'm dropping her off at work, or I'm getting aggressed in a phone conversation. It's just conversations that we have that make me laugh in hindsight when I go back and think about it. Like, did she really just say that to me? Like in front of the children? Like, oh my God. Like, it's just shit like that. Like, like I remember one time Mina said to me, and I quote, "You lucky your son's right here because your ass be raped." Like that doesn't, like if a man was to say that to a woman, that would just be, that'd be like, wait, what? No, like you can't say that to a woman. Like me too. But the fact of the matter is, like women are able to do that for the fact that this is a society like we live in. It's just facts. The society allow women to get away with saying shit like that, but the same thing can't go for a man. It's just facts. And the sad part about that is what a lot of people miss, what a lot of men miss is actually being actual men in these relationships. This is how you fall so hard or so fast because of the fake shit that you were taught on how to treat women, or the fake shit you were taught on how to be with a woman or how to make a woman happy. Because growing up, I never was taught happy wife, happy life. That's not something I know of until I've met motherfuckers in the English manosphere. Like I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't know what the fuck that means. That's foreign to me. I don't believe in that shit. Happy wife, happy life. Because at the end of the day, if you're not happy as a man, then that relationship ain't gonna last. Where I grew up at and how I grew up and how my family is, that relationship ain't worth shit. If you're not happy, that relationship's not worth shit. Because you're not getting any enjoyment or happiness out of the shit, then that relationship needs to not happen. You don't need to sacrifice your happiness in a relationship. If you have to sacrifice your happiness in a relationship, then that relationship's not for you. The sad part about that is because we live in a culture, in a landscape we live now, women have the carte blanche to do any fucking thing they want because this is the society we live in. But the sad part about that is what I noticed with a lot of women is if you lay the groundwork in the beginning saying, I'm not with this shit, I'm not with this bullshit, I'm not with this bullshit, and say it very harshly and say it very bluntly, and because like she'll listen and go, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, this nigga's serious. Because if you go, well, I don't think it'd be right if if you were to do that, or this. If you sound like you're unsure on some shit, your ass is already rolled on. She already done rolled on your ass like gangbangers. One of your shit, one of your shoes. It's just facts. That's the sad part about that. If you're going to pussyfoot about it or try to be, you know, Edward Pennywise the third about it and shit like that, just to appease a woman and make her happy, she already wrote on your ass. It's just facts. It's kind of like when I say it with a lot of shit, you just got skipped on already. You literally just got skipped on. If you're going to be pussyfooting about the shit or trying to be very PC about the shit. Like I tell every single woman off the bat, bluntly, I'm not with this shit. Fuck that shit. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I'm not dating your friends. I'm dating you. Fuck them too. And like, I'm very honest about the shit. I'm very upfront and honest about the shit. So you can't say that you don't know, you didn't know that that was a rule because I tell you off the bat, look, I don't give a fuck what the fuck the situation is. I don't give a fuck if it's a telenovela and you're stuck in an elevator with a nigga. If you fuck that nigga, I'm breaking up with you. If you kiss that nigga, I'm breaking up with you. Because I'm very blunt and honest about this shit. And this is why I can actually get away with this shit because I commit and own this shit. Whereas a lot of men they'll front like they're about to do the shit, but they're really not about that life. They'll say, well, I would do this, but your actions show that you won't do it. Women read body language very well. Because if you look at a woman and go, look, I'm not with this shit, fuck that shit, fuck your friends, fuck your mom, fuck your dad, and fuck your face. Like legit, I'm not saying you should come out as harsh as I would, but I'm just saying, look, I don't give a fuck who none of these people are. I'm not in a relationship with none of these motherfuckers. I'm in a relationship with your dumb ass. So whatever the fuck these motherfuckers got to say, unless they all gonna fuck me or gonna pay for some of this shit in this house, fuck off. That's exactly what I say to women. If none of these motherfuckers is going to lay down on, if your mom's not here laying down and giving me sex or paying for any shit, and your dad's not paying for any shit in this house, or he's not buying no shit in this house, and if, you know, your friends aren't giving me sex or buying any shit in this house, fuck all of them. Fuck them all. And that's exactly how I operate. Because I look at it like this. I basically treat women how my grandparents treated me when it comes to people, when they try to bring other people in. I'm not their fucking grandparents or their fucking parents. I'm your fucking grandparent or your fucking parent. Fuck everybody else. That's exactly how I operate in relationships. It don't matter. I'm not kowtowing the shit. If you tell me you're going to go do this shit, you better go do this shit. If you veer off from the path, either you better send me a text message or don't expect to come back home. Like legit. Like I don't give a fuck. Like I don't give a fuck. That's exactly how I operate in any relationship. Like, don't call me, don't text me, and don't be trying to pull no. Oh, I missed your calls. Oh no, oh no, oh no. You better be at work and miss my calls. You better not be out and about and miss my calls, because important shit can happen, and it is what it is. But a lot of men don't do this shit. A lot of men want to get along, and get on for the most part, and they want to appease the women. It's just facts, and that's generally the psychology. That's generally this is going to basically be like generally the first portion of psychology of relationships. Your fuck up is your fuck up, no matter how you cut it. Men or women, your fuck up is your fuck up. The sad part about that is the reason why men commit suicide at a higher rate than women is because they own up to the shit, and sometimes they over own the shit. They over own the shit. Like, okay, you got into that relationship, yes. But at the end of the day, there was two people in that relationship. So you can't take the fault for all of the shit that went wrong in a relationship. You could take the fault for choosing a person that you did, but the question is, if you decide to continue doing relationship shit, how you go on about conducting yourself in the next relationship, or how you go on about not conducting yourself and not getting into the next relationship. It's a matter of that. Like, you fucked up, yeah, by choosing the person that you chose. Yes, you did. You did. Everybody does. Everybody makes mistakes. And the sad part about that is men internalize it a lot more than women do. And they realize this shit. Men internalize this shit. When they make a mistake, men fuck up. Men internalize this shit, and they point and they start looking inwards at themselves. And this is why suicide actually happens after a lot of breakups, or men commit suicide at a higher rate than women for this reason, because we owed up to our fuck ups. And sometimes we over own our fuck ups. It's just facts. There's no other way around it. That's basically the truth behind it. The reason why men commit so much suicide is because we own up to our fuck ups. And sometimes we take responsibility for shit that's not even our responsibility. We take responsibility for shit that's outside of our realm of responsibility. Like, yes, it's wrong now that you realize that you chose the wrong fucker, you don't have to internalize it, because now that you internalize that shit and thought about the shit and you realize you chose the wrong motherfucker, you don't take it out on yourself. You basically look at that woman, take her, put her up on the wall and says, I'm not dating no bitch like that ever again. I'm not dating nobody like that ever the fuck again. And now my eyes are open, and fuck that bitch. I'm not saying go out there and try to like destroy her life and shit like that. I'm merely saying mark that in your book as a fuck up that you made, but don't internalize it to the point and make and be able to actually. So when you run into the next woman, all the shit that she did, no matter if you're in a relationship with a woman or not, or if you're working with a woman, if you're in a relationship with a woman, or if you're friends with a woman, all that shit that woman did, be ready to apply all the shit that you learn from that shit to every single fucking female relationship you get into or see or come across, for the most part. The same shit that she pulled, 9 times out of 10, is going to be the same shit that your friends are pulling on you now. Because at the end of the day, like I said, shit can only happen to you if you allow it to happen to you. So women doing the stupid shit that they do can only happen if you allow the stupid shit to happen. It's just facts. And no, I'm against traditionalism before anybody asks. That pretty much concludes this last stream for the most part. I didn't want to make it any longer than it needed to be, but I wanted to make this last stream, and I'm probably going to make it into a series, and I'm probably going to do it like every week, probably on a Sunday. But y'all have a good one. Class dismissed.